Sorry about that. My battery ran out on the previous video that I was making about the Turvilles and about the Battle of Lagos and the tragic sinking of over 70 ships in what are premeditated campaigns for one side to fail. Just 1 year earlier, the French Navy was defeated by the Spanish Navy and its allies, and the losses were just as great. I'm talking about the corruption of the world, about the imposition of the world by false religions, and the creation of saints like St. Vincent, who have got a list of miracles here. It's easy to relay the miracles, and when you realise that people in sub-Saharan Africa think that people who become Christians will be resurrected from the dead, and that they literally believe what they read in the Old and the New Testaments, then let's have a wee look at some of the St. Vincent links, which are actually links to Ferrari and the Formula 1 sector through the Vatican Museum in this case. Okay, the miracles of St. Vincent Ferrer, Ercole de Roberti, and it's a very brief article. I just picked it up, but I want you to know that this is the same joke as St. Vincent is a strong presence in Glasgow in Scotland, and the songs about Vincent the artist are also a continuation of the theme. The healing of the lame, the raising of a rich Jewish woman from the dead, the saving of a child from a house on fire, all of this happened in Bologna in 1473 or thereabouts. The Grifoni Chapel, the famous griffin that's a symbol for corrupted city of London and the Freemasons globally. It is just ruthless. What they get away with since 79 AD, when the New Testament was written, is murderous. It's martyrous. It is the culling of indigenous pagans in every country on the globe. And then when you see how they laugh at that, and St. Vincent is also associated with the scene of that battle that we talked about in the immediate last video that we made. It's also a location in the tax havens. I think it's in the Caribbean, and that is where Moustique is, and that is where the some of the tax exiles that include the tenants, I believe, the people from the Tweedsmuirs, and the Tweedsmuirs, I believe, are linked into dynasties like those that became the Governor Generals in Canada in World War II. It's massive. The jokes at the people's expense are absolutely huge. Let me show you an image of the person Anne Hilarion de Constantine Comte de Turville. He looks a bit like that guy that presents the celebrity programs on a Saturday night. He's now become a multi-millionaire in America. I forget his name. He's got a massive wig on. He's trading in the use of the name Hilarion as a prototype, and you can see the hand is on the hip here because he cannot tuck it inside his jersey like Nelson, Bonaparte and all of those other people that culled their own troops and their own naval victims just to keep the numbers down and to get the money into the Rothschild dynasty's havens, which are actually in the heart of Hertfordshire in England, which is why we have a place called Weston Turville. Within a few miles of my old home in Hertfordshire. And you can see the links now to the joke about Hillarious. They think it is really hilarious to kill innocents for cash, to sink 70 ships at a time in a massive fudged campaign, and that takes place off the coast of Portugal. And when you look for the Battle of Lagos now, or the location of Lagos on Google Maps, it is very, very difficult to find it outside Africa, and just the nomenclature here and the use of the "it's in his pockets" joke in the Lord of the Rings film, the tucking the hand inside the jersey on top of the wallet, and the deployment of the word Hillary in The Man Who Conquered Everest and in the Foreign Office in America for Hillary Clinton, one of the world's biggest geopolitical tyrants. Despite her innocence, I used to fancy her something rotten when I was younger, and my hormones used to flow. But she is typical of the modern day politician. She cheats the people with that broad smile, and she culls them ruthlessly, using NATO's armies in what they call in America still Homeland Security. I'm now going to show you how we demonise Islam on a daily basis on the bigger screen, and I think that can be set up so that we can look at the computer screen. There we go. Okay, so that's a random check on Company Check for the word Islam. You can see that we get 5,204 directors on the British Company Check under Islam. The companies that we get under that one word search are number 176. Sole traders we get 58, and European companies we get 391. The amounts at the bank vary between a couple of million and minus 131,000. The weapons will be coming from here. The news reporting comes from here. And what I reported in the earlier video about Kathryn Adie, the journalist, being on the board of one of the companies that trade out of Ecclestone Road, where we have the registration of Swift Incorporated, of Instant Companies Limited, and the deployment of people like Tim Spicer on the board of the Trident companies, Trident 3 and Trident 4, right in the heart of London. I'm going to try and show you now what else they are doing. These are video clips that show the demonization of Islam and the beheading of people under the name ISIS. I forget what that stands for. All of the messianic religions are fakes. That includes Christianity, the Muslim fellowship, all the things that are occurring on behalf of human beings who plant mind control tools as messianic religious figureheads all around the world, so that they can create campaigns of hatred and revenge like this one. Okay, if we go back to Islam on that previous thing and we take it back one screen, I can show you what I got on the concurrent search for ISIS in the British Company Check. This time we get relatively few companies, only 1,030 under ISIS. We get 147 directors, we get sole traders 130, and European companies profiting from this could be raising funds to make the false news videos and things that we will see in a minute. But I want you to realise that when they tell you that they are training people in Aberdeen to be part of this Islamic menace, that Mr. Islam is the director of a for-profit company. He is not a terrorist. They're in pinstripes and they are ripping off the British public. They want you to live your life in fear so that they can steal from you on a daily or hourly basis, and all of the treasuries across the globe are now empty because of the master plan that is the Rothschilds issuing some money from every central bank in every brutalized country across the globe, ending with those in Iran, Afghanistan and Iraq. We're now in Iraq for the third time in a decade, and I'm going to show you the simplistic methods that they use to deploy NATO's airplanes in bombing that innocent region so that we can sequester all of their sovereignty and all of their capacity to issue money to their people and to fund their nation and to rebuild it from those two campaigns of brutalisation that have occurred since 2003. It is really, really sad that a sophisticated and educated country like Britain, particularly England, can do this. I'm going to say particularly England because now that I've shown you a little bit of the footage from an American news broadcast, I'm going to show you the dismembering of William Wallace that ties into the last video that I made on this theme of the perpetual tyranny, because they have the power to keep the people suppressed, because they have the power to impose wealth divide on the world's people. Take a little bit of time to warm up and kick off.
Inside Syria and less so in its current form in Iraq. So clearly within the 636, if you count the days in which he was held in captivity, he changed hands within the underground that functions as sort of Syria's kidnap business. There are a lot of Americans, it seems, have been held at some point, or other foreigners by the various different groups.
I hope you now understand why the wind is gusting. We've now associated quite clearly seismic activity, weather patterns, winds, hurricanes, tornadoes, landslides with aberrant and evil human behaviours. It gets no more evil than this. Erbil, Iraq, 1:45 AM. He's getting the news out in a shirt without any protective clothing on, and these guys are dressed up. We're approaching Halloween. It's the witching hour. It is an actual nightmare that they're allowed to get away with this. I believe that the gods will impose some judgment on them soon, but they can, for the moment, get away with genocide with complete impunity. Kathryn Adie is on the board of one of those companies that is trading out of Ecclestone Road in London. A very experienced journalist in the English speaking system, and I'm now going to take you back to the video footage that I hope that will not be subject to copyright infringement, because I've actually bought this video, and we bought it, I believe, in the UK or possibly in Australia. It's a video on the disemboweling of one of Scotland's revolutionary heroes, and let me just see if I can engage that. Here we go. this bit would create a scandal in this day and age, because you got two midgets on screen beating each other with sticks. There you see the T-Mobile joke about the Christian cross. The letter T, capital T, is a joke about the crucifixion. His French lover can do nothing to save him, just like the Grand Prix movies. It's tragic. You've got a hero in a kilt, you've got the demons in the English kit, and they've got all the gear.
Now behold the awful price of treason!
And they control the mob, like in the Colosseum, like in the Roman stories. And when I told you the story about the triumvirate that possibly was led as early as 55 BC, leading to the breakout of Christianity, and the master plan that is the Piso fraud and the writing of the New Testament from Rome and in Herculaneum in the Villa Papyri, then you see how easy it is to control the minds of the world's people, to keep the world disrupted, violent, genocidal, and to create martyrs in every innocent movement across the globe. If they could just let people think for themselves without imposing group activities and political opinions on them. We need to ban political parties and the imposition of religious beliefs on people and massive continents overseas. If you follow what your mum and dad tell you to do and you leave other people alone, the world would be a much better place.
Or fall to your knees now. Declare yourself the king's loyal subject and beg his mercy. Then you shall have it.
Very graphic, all of it up front, just like the Manchester United match, or just like the Gladiator movie. now we get the pay-per-view stuff. See the euro sign beginning to come in, the castellated legal document on his shirt. We have not got pounds, shilling and pence on that, but if it were the Chancellor, that would be on the chain hanging round his neck. Irish presence, the romance, all of it, the traitors, and national security. And then the endless slaughter, or the referendum. Nothing ever changes. The traitors are still the same names. The wealthy and the money lenders are still the same names. And the legend that he was inspired in a cave by a spider that is now the icon for globalism is not a legend, it's a master plan. It is a disaster for every independent country on the globe. I'm going to stop there now. You need to know that everything that you see on the TV and in the news is a fraud for cash and to cull the innocents everywhere where we still have innocents left. Night night.